I'm going to do two things. First of all, I'm just going to finish off this conceptual modeling thing. You probably don't really realize what it's for yet, but I just want to give you an idea of how powerful it can be. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to model up this little house here from one of the groups very quickly on the screen and put it on the site just to show you how to do that. So I'm just going to minimize the existing stuff for the moment. Just going to turn that down. I'm just going to start a new project, architectural template, and I'm going to go to level 1. Now, what I'm going to talk about here is some of the basic ways of locating elements in the project. And the first thing you need to know about is levels. And levels are basically the ground floor level, the first floor level, the second floor level. Just at a very basic level, that's what we're talking about. So we're given these two levels to start off with on the left here, if you look at the screen. And they're present in terms of views like this, from a top view, a plan view down. But they're also present in the elevation view. So if you open up this elevations tab here, we've got elevation 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if I open one of them up, you can see that the levels are also existing within the elevation view. So the elevation view is the side view of a building, if you don't know what an elevation view is. So you have a side view from all 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, and 4, as a basic setup. And the levels are given as the default is 3.2 meters. So you can see everything in Revit is measured in millimeters. So 3.2 meters is 3,200 millimeters, obviously. But
just one elevation.
You have just one elevation. You should have 4 elevations, 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you don't, it doesn't really matter for what I'm going to talk about now. We can always set up a new elevation. Now, if I go back into level 1 and the plan view, let's say I want to create a crazy skyscraper for some kind of Dubai multimillionaire, and he wants some kind of crazy funky shape. We use the same thing we've been talking about before, massing in site, and I'm going to make an in-place mass. We can just call it whatever we want. We'll leave it at mass 1 for the moment. And I'm going to start off by just drawing some kind of a shape on the ground. We can start and add curves as we go through it, just by choosing different elements along the let's choose this one here. Something like that. I don't know why you would make that shape, but anyway, never mind. Now, hopefully this will work with mass modeling, because it might be too complex for it. But anyway, once we've made a shape, we should be able to go back and click on it and then turn it into a form. So I'm going to press Create Form, and I'm going to make sure it's a solid form. And if you get these arrows here, that means that you have created a 3D form. So I'm just going to show you 3D view, and you should maybe have something that looks like that. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to press WT, which is a shortcut which should set up your screen like this to show all the views you have open at the same time. So if ever you want to see the views that you have open at the same time, you just press WT and it'll set up your screen like that. Okay, so let's say I want to make the skyscraper, you know, a certain height. If I press the tab button, does everybody know what the tab button is? This button on the left here, usually about 3 buttons down. This will allow me to cycle through selection options on the screen here. And this is a really useful thing in Revit, because often if you leave your mouse cursor sitting on top of something in Revit, it'll highlight the first thing it thinks of. So at the moment it's only highlighting one of the edges. If I press the tab button, it starts by highlighting the whole block, then it takes one side of it, then it takes the top side of it, and so on. So now I can choose that I want to edit the top side. So once I can see it's blue highlighted, I can select it, and we get these arrows that basically display the ways we can move it around. So I can grab the up arrow and I can just drag it up like that, or I can grab the side arrow and take it off to the side like that, and I can continue to modify the form using the tab button. Let's say I just want to choose the edge of it, and I can take that in itself, or I can take a point here and take that up and kind of play with the form until I get something that you know, looks close to what the client is looking for. So WT again. So I can see that in the elevation view, just going to close down the plan, WT, that we've gone way beyond the first two levels. So we have level 0 here is at level 1, and level 2 is at 3.2 meters. And now we've got a form of skyscraper that we have. So I'm going to finish the mass. But in order to turn this into something that we can use realistically, I need to put a floor level in at each level. Okay, so I'm going to select level 2, and I'm going to use this tool here. This is called the array tool, and we just leave the cursor on it for a second and it shows you a little video of what it does. What array allows you to do is to select an object or a number of objects and then get the computer to copy them as many times as you want it to do, either in a straight line or around in a circle, based on the settings that you give it. So I'm going to say array. I'm going to switch off group and associate. That's making it a little bit too complicated right now, so I'm going to switch that off. And I'm going to say, well, let's put 15 stories in. We want to have 15 stories in our tower. So the next thing, if you watch on the bottom left-hand corner here, it's asking us click to enter move start point. So I'm going to click on this level, and then it's going to ask us to click to enter move endpoint. So I'm going to enter, making sure that it's completely vertical. I'm going to enter the exact distance that I want between floors. So I'm going to use the same one again. Let's say 3200. I press enter. So now we've got levels for 15 floors in here, and you can see it automatically calculates the distance between them. Okay, everybody with me so far? I'm gonna do this once, and I'm gonna stop in about 2 minutes, and then I'll get you to do it. So once we've done that, we can now select this object here, and we have an option for mass floors. And what this does is, if I click on it, it asks us, do we want to make a floor at all these levels within our skyscraper? I'm just going to say, let's see if we can select them all at once. Yes. Okay. And you can see over here in the 3D view, suddenly we have, it's divided the massing model into floors. And this does a couple of things for us. I'm just going to turn on the shaded view here so we can see it a bit better. Shade it down here. Shade it down here. So it makes something like that. Now that if I click on it, you can see that it also calculates the gross floor area, surface area, and the volume of the building. So these are all figures that you can now use to calculate the cost of the building. So even by spending 2 minutes and setting up a massing model, you've already got information in there that you can send to a client to say this is how much it's going to cost, more or less, within a plus or minus 20% ratio. So it's a very, very simple way of setting up a building. Okay, so that's the first thing about it. The second thing about it is, once we've made this massing model, we can convert it to real elements within the Revit interface. And the way we do that is we go up to the architecture tab, and anytime you're dealing with walls, floors, windows, roofs, stairs, anything to do with an actual building, it's always under the architecture tab up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some floors. So go to floor, and instead of drawing it, I can choose this option, floor by face. And then I can just go through and select the individual conceptual faces that I want to convert into a floor. And over here I can actually specify the type of floor. Let's just leave it at suspended lightweight concrete. And then I press create floor, and it's created what are now floors that consist of real materials. If everybody's with me so far. If I now switch off, let me just deselect that. Show mass form and floors. All we're left with is the floors. So the idea of the conceptual shape is only there in the background. So that's what mass modeling is for, is to give a conceptual shape that later on we could turn into objects like mass forms and floors, walls, and so forth. I'm just going to do one more thing, and then I'll stop, and you can all have a go at it. So I'm going to show the mass again, and now I'm going to go into walls, and we're going to do wall by face. Now we can go over here and select, well, I want to change this into a wall, this into a wall. Some of them will give you an awkward message because it's an awkward shape, but we can very quickly go around wall by face and convert the idea, which is the massing model, if I switch it off again, into something that can be turned into a real building. So now if I go back to level 1, whoops, did that crash? Go back to level 1. It's showing us a plan view of the floors and the walls within there. Does that make sense? You might not understand it, or you might not have it in your heads yet, but does it make sense so far? Yeah, okay. Does everybody want to give it a go, and I'll just hold a pause in the video here. Yeah, okay, let's just leave it at that, okay. Okay, so we played a little bit with the mass floors and the masses and so on, and that's just really an introduction into it, but we're going to go right back down to basics now. We're going to do this little house here. So I have it, for anyone who can't see it on the table here, it's this one here, and I've got a nice little drawing here that was done specially for me, which is lovely. So I'm going to transfer this into the site model. So I'm just going to go in here, and at the moment we're at Project North, which is aligned with the house here, but let's say we want to make Project North perpendicular to the house. So just to repeat, I'm going to go and make an architectural model line. Let's just cancel that, and then I'm just going to draw the angle of the house that we want to do. So let's say we want to make it at this angle here. So now we have a reference point. So we can go into manage, and go into additional settings. I'm sorry, we go into location or coordinates. I always forget. Okay, coordinates, there we go. Position. Rotate Project North. And we have the option in here to align to a selected line or plane. So we select that, and I'm just going to select this line. And now you can see that Project North has been oriented to the line. And what happens there is that the thin lines that we drew earlier to outline the size of the site have been shown. So I'm just going to select all those and delete them. So the way I do that is I roll the cursor over one of them, press tab, and then I can select all of them, and then I can delete them. Okay, so I'll just do that again. Run the cursor over one of them, press tab, which means it selects all the interconnected lines, click on it, and then delete. Okay, I'm going to switch that off. Hide and view elements. So now we can start drawing up the this project here. So I'm going to use the measurements that we have, and let's just try to see which way it is. So it's 9 meters long to start with, 3 meters wide, and anyway, let's just start doing it. So I'm going to go to architecture, and I'm going to go to wall. And what you get when you start, first of all, is you get a basic generic wall over here selected as the option. You basically use this for all your design situation, for your concept, until you get into the detailed drawing like you're doing there with Alan. So this is just to set up the rooms in general. So since I've been given all the internal dimensions, I'm going to select the wall type, and I'm going to choose the location line that we're going to draw from. Okay, so once you select a wall type, you get this option to choose where you want to draw it from. If I choose wall center line, you can see that as I draw it, it's drawing up the middle of the wall there. So it takes the center line of the wall. But if I do it again, I select wall, and we got the right one. I'm going to choose finish face interior. And if I start to draw that, you can see that it's actually drawing on the inside of the wall. Okay, so that's an important thing to remember because it changes the measurements of the building a lot. Does this make sense? I don't know if it's too much information in one go, or is it okay? Blank stares. All right, let's just start drawing and see how it goes. Architecture, wall, finish face interior. So I'm going to draw from here, and if I find that it's drawing on the wrong side, let's say I wanted to draw on the right hand side of the wall and it's drawing on the left hand side, I can just use the space bar and that'll flip the side that I'm drawing on. So at the moment the external side is out here and the internal side is over here, but I want it to be the other way around, so I just press the space bar and it flips it over. And you can see that as I'm drawing it up, it's making this temporary dimension. At the moment it's 6,700 millimeters. I can either continue to move the cursor until it gets to 9 meters, which is what the measurement is here, or I can just type in 9,000 like that, and it'll automatically draw the wall to the correct dimension. Okay. Then I can continue to draw the wall, and I can type in 3 meters, and keep going down, type in 9 meters, and then I can just select the end of the wall just to finish it off like that. And when I'm finished, I press escape twice to get out of the command. So we should have something like that.
But the outer line now is not 9 meters.
The inner line, because the dimensions I have been given here are from the inner side of the wall. So I'm just trying to follow these as close as possible. Okay? Everybody with me? So now everybody can see, if I go back to the image here, there's a kind of a 1 meter kind of jump as it goes in here. So I need to have a way of taking that 1 meter in. So the easy way to do that is to select the existing wall we have, to go up to the modify panel here, and I'm going to use this offset button, which is this kind of little cloud icon up there. All these commands also have keyboard shortcuts, but I'm not going to use those right now, but you can certainly set it up for yourself. So if I select that, it asks us, what do you want to do? Do you want to do it graphically or numerically? I'm going to do it numerically. I'm going to offset it by 1000, because that's what's on the piece of paper, and we're going to copy it. So I'm going to take this wall here, and you can see as I roll, if you can just see it there because the light is bad in here, as I roll the cursor over the wall, it's giving us a guideline as to where it's going to put the offset wall, which is at 1,000 millimeters away. So I'm going to do that. So it's made a wall 1,000 millimeters in. Then all I need to do is grab it, select, click on it, grab one of the ends, and then I can drag it wherever I want to put it. And you can see it's giving us a temporary dimension all the time, so we can make sure that we're actually doing it with the right level of accuracy. So I can see on the piece of paper here, this is supposed to be 3 meters long. So I'm just going to type in 3 meters. So we should have something like that. So it's kind of the beginning point. I've drawn this box. Let's just rotate it. No, I can't rotate it. And now I've come in by 1,000 and I'm drawing in that direction. Okay. Since it's 1,000 on both sides, we can now mirror the wall we've just made and to copy it over to the other side. So I go over up here and I select mirror, draw axis. I'm doing like 4 commands at the same time here. I'll stop soon, so then you can have a go. Now I can select the center point of this wall here, midpoint, and if you get this little triangular, this little pink triangle, that means you're selecting the midpoint of a wall. So I'm going to use that as the basis for drawing a mirror line, and then it mirrors the wall we've just drawn across to the other side. Then I can press escape twice to get out of the command. So now I can see that this wall here needs to be 6 meters long. So I can just type in 6 meters. Okay? Will I hold pause and get you to do something similar? Or will I just keep going? I think actually what I'll do is I'll keep going, I'll make the video, and then we can go through it later. Okay, so once again, I've got 2 meters between here and a new wall over here, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to use the offset tool, press offset. I'm going to change this to 2 meters. 2 meters. Going to leave on copy, and now we're going to offset this wall on that side. And then we can just draw a wall to connect the two, like this. And similarly, I can draw a wall to connect these two here. So now we've got the basic layout of this element set up. Okay, so if I press the 3D view, this is what it looks like at the moment. I'm going to switch off this, hide this element. So we've got this, these walls that are drawn at 8 meters high as a default. So this is where the level options that we have come into it. If I go into the elevation view here, we have the existing house here, and then we have these walls we've just drawn. If I select one of them, in the Properties tab here, we can see it's got an unconnected height of 8 meters. What I can do is I can select and I can change the top constraint from unconnected to connected to level 2, which means it brings it down automatically to level 2. If I do that for all of the walls, change it from unconnected to level 2, suddenly, if I just maximize it here, you can see it's made it all 3.2 meters high. Let me just do something in here just to help you out view this. I'm going to switch that off. Hide in view elements. So the benefit of that is that if you start designing your project and it's got 3.2 meters and suddenly you realize, well, actually that's too high, I'm just going to make it 2.7. You can select the level itself, and I can change that to 2700. And it will automatically change the sizes of the walls to suit the new measurements of the project. So if you've got for example, a building of 6 stories high, and you suddenly decide that you're going to change the method of construction, it's going to change from 2.7 to 2.9 floor to floor for some reason. All you need to do is change the levels in this view here, change the level between the various floors, and we'll stretch the walls to suit the levels. So that's the benefit of that. So the revision time for your drawings is suddenly reduced to 0. So it's always a good idea it's usually a good idea to attach your walls to a level rather than to leave them unconnected. Okay? Now what we have here is these it's actually made of 3 elements. So if we go into this view here, whoops, not that one, this one. We have the larger element here. We have a smaller roof and another smaller roof over here. So I'm just going to try and do something that more or less looks like that. So I'm going to draw, to start off with, I'm going to draw a roof on top of this element. And the way you draw roofs in Revit is you go to the level that you want to draw the roof on. So I'm going to go to level 2. And level 2 is showing the walls that are on level 1 below. Can everybody see that? It's showing an underlay. So I can start to draw a roof here. So I go up to the architecture tab, I go over to roof, and I'm just going to choose the simplest roof, which is called a roof by footprint. Once again, we get exactly the same little drawing tools that that Revit always gives you to give you some basic shapes. So I can just choose a rectangle. This is one way of doing it, and I can choose that I want to draw a roof from here all the way across to here. And if you notice, it gives us this pink line with these little kind of triangles on it. Let's go back and show the 3D view at the same time here. If I then accept this, it gives us a basic barn roof, like a simple roof like this, which has a slope on every side. So it's got a slope from this side, a slope from this side, a slope from this side, a slope from this side. But that's not what we want, because we have this single-sided slope here. So we need to change that. So I go back in, select the roof, edit the footprint, and what I'm going to do is we only need to have the roof sloping up from here to here. So I can select this element here, I can click off define slope, and I can select, well, let's just do that first and see what happens. So if I accept that, you can see now suddenly this end of the roof has become pretty flat, whereas the other one is still pitched like that. So I select it again, edit the footprint, switch off define slope, accept it. Now it's just a standard house roof, but it's still got a slope on both sides. So I do it again, edit footprint, select this one, switch off define slope, and now we've got a slope that goes in one direction. Okay? So it looks like that. It's a little bit too high at the moment. I'm going to do just 2 more things and then I'll stop and give you a chance to play with it, okay? So what I can do now is, because I have these walls set up underneath, I'm going to select the roof, select the wall, and I'm actually going to use the tab button again. So I'm going to select or let the cursor lie on top of the wall, press the tab button, which selects all the interconnected walls, and now I'm going to attach them to the roof like that. So we have something like this. And once again, this is a time saver thing, because that allows me to go in here, select the roof again, edit the footprint, select the slope. I can change it from a 30-degree slope to a 25-degree slope, for example, and accept it. It changes the slope, but it also changes the walls so that they follow the orientation of it. So let's just do that so it makes an intense difference. So edit footprint, select this, change the slope. Let's change the slope to 65, if it'll allow us to do that. So that's the kind of roof you would get with 65. But you can see that the walls follow along with the roof, because we've attached them to the roof. Okay, let's just change it back again. I'm going to change it back to 25 degrees. Okay. So let's just leave that for the moment. And got any questions, or do you want to give it a go? Okay, guys, I'm just going to continue this, and I'm going to finish off the roof on this. So I'm going to make another roof by footprint, make a rectangle, and do the same thing again, draw it. And to make a shortcut, I can actually use the tab button here to select everything at once, click on it, switch off the slope, and then I'm going to change this slope to, just turn it on again and change it to maybe, what does it look like? Maybe 10 degrees. And accept it. And do it again, roof by footprint, make a rectangle. Leave the cursor on top of one of them, press tab to select them all, switch off the slope, And if I just accept it as it is, we're going to get a flat roof on that one, if you see what I'm talking about. So select it again, edit the footprint, and we're going to change the outside to define slope, and we're going to change it to, what does it look like, 15 degrees, and accept it. So then we have something like that. Now, all these roofs have been drawn on level 2, but and if we decide to change the distance between level 1 and level 2, they'll all move with them. But if we look at the model here, we can see that this roof actually starts at a lower level than the main roof here. So what we can do is we can give this roof an offset. If I select the roof here, I can give it an offset over here, base offset from level, and I'm going to bring it down by, let's approximate that we bring it down by 600 millimeters. But we need to minus that, sorry. So minus 600 millimeters, and then we apply that, and the roof gets brought down, if you see. So now we just have to select the walls that are attached, press attach top base, attach them to the roof, and similarly with the other walls over here, select them all, attach top base, attach them to the roof, like that. So we have something that looks like this now. And if we want to add this nice overhang in here, it's as simple as selecting the roof again, and you can do all this in 3D, you don't have to do it in plan view. Edit the footprint, and we can just grab this, click on this edge here, and drag it out however far we want it. And we can give that a value in here if we want. Let's say we want to make it 900. Whoops. And then accept it, and suddenly we have an overhang of the roof like that. Everybody with me? What time are we at here? Now, to add things like doors and windows is as simple as selecting door and putting it in the wall here. There's a door. Or select architecture and windows. Whoops, architecture, windows. And then we can put a window in the wall like that. So once you get the elements into the project, you can always come back afterwards. For example, select this door, come over here to the Properties tab and change it to a different type of door. So I changed it to, for example, this door assembly up here. So we get something that looks like that. Within the, yep.
Does it have a warehouse where you can get other doors, or is it just like
That's a good question. So I was actually going to talk about that next. Who was talking there? Yeah. When you open up Revit, you only get a certain amount of doors and windows loaded. These are what's called families in the Revit universe. So you can actually design your own families. We talk about that in the second semester. But we also have the option to go and insert some families directly from either within a library within the computer, or from Autodesk's own website, or from other sources, which I'll go into later. So we can go into Insert, and if you go into the Insert tab up here, we have something called Load Family. If I press Load Family, you should get a list like this. And these are all just components that you can insert into your building. So under Doors here, we have quite a few different options for the types of doors we can put in there that are just set up. So let's just say that one there. It inserts into the project but doesn't appear straight away. So you actually have to go into the right tool. So we have to go into the Door tab to find the one that we've just inserted, which is this one here, I think. Yeah, the glass one. And then you can put it in your project like that. So that's the insert that's within the libraries that's within your computer itself. If you can't find what you want in here, your first port of call is to use this this little dialog box here, which is called Autodesk Seek. So this is actually an internet search engine. So if I go in here and I type door and press enter, it opens up my web browser, and this is Autodesk's own library of material that's on the internet, and this contains actual doors from actual manufacturers that that consist of first of all the 3D information, but also of the information that you need to schedule it. So it might have information regarding the materials, the types of hinges, the types of door handles, everything that you need to actually order the door. And the reason they do that is if you go and say, okay, I need to get this project done, you know, tonight. I'm just going to use this door here because it's easy to get my hands on. That means it turns up in your model, and if you press print for all your schedules, the door is already in your schedules. So the client or the manufacturer has put their door into your potential business model. So that's why they do it. Yeah.
Yeah, do you have to do Danish companies also?
I think Velux, I'm not sure if Velux are on this one, but this is not the only library. What I've just been talking to the second semester about is, and I'm not sure if this is too much information to give you at once, but I'll leave it on the video here, is there's another one called BIM Object, which is an add-on to Revit, which also has a list of objects from manufacturers, and this definitely has Velux on it because I think it even has a dedicated Velux button up here. So if you want to get your hands on BIM Object, the way to do it is to go into the Exchange Apps button here, and that'll bring you to the website where all the plugins to Revit sit. It's just too much information. It's a good thing I'm videoing it anyway. Down here you can download BIM Object, which will then plug into your Revit along the top. It's just an extra little program you can download and install to your Revit, which will give you access to all those other manufacturers as well. Okay, so then you can download roof windows or walls or any types of windows from that as well. So there's various places on the internet where you can get this stuff, but those two, Autodesk Seek, which is this one, and this one, BIM Object, they're both verified places, because often students go to somewhere like BIM City or other places where you can download models that other students have made, and usually those models are terrible and they end up crashing your computer. So it's a good idea to get a validated model like these ones from real functioning companies, because they're free. Okay, I think that's enough information for today. I'll keep it up again.